Hi, good people. Welcome to my channel. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell so you'll know when I post future content. I'm going to get into today a sensitive topic. It would be for Europe, not necessarily here in the US, but what happens in Europe triggers what happens here and across the world. It's not just Europe that will be affected, it's a domino effect, right? But Germany, the third largest exporter in the world, is in an economic war with Russia. Imagine that. Russia is not just at war with Ukraine, they're also in an economic war with Germany. Now, let me explain the economic war that Russia has launched against Germany. So, Russia got hit with the sanctions, right? Germany is a part of Europe. Europe aligns with the Western society, right? So that means that they're not in favor of Moscow's policy, Russia's policies. Nonetheless, there's a thing called globalization, free trade. So for many decades, Russia has been trading natural gas with Germany. Germany pays them US dollars and then they get the oil from Russia, right? Now, Russia got thrown the sanctions by the West, including Europe. So when Russia started getting cut off from the world, Russia then said, okay, two could play that game. I'm going to stop sending natural gas to Germany. The same Germany we've been supplying for decades. The whole German economy runs on this energy. I'm going to cut it. And so Putin made the decision to cut it just based on the fact that Germany aligned with America and the rest of the West against Russia invading Ukraine. There's no way Germany could have stood, even though they're neighbors. Morally, Germany, like, I can't ride with that. I can't support that. Even though we've been trading partners for years, you've made a ton of cash off of us purchasing your natural gas. We can't support what you're doing in Ukraine. We just can't do it. But nonetheless, 40% of Germany's energy comes from Russia. And Germany and Russia drafted up an agreement decades ago that Russia would supply the natural gas, right? To not just Germany, the whole of Europe. It's just sent in these pipelines from Russia to Germany, and then it's dispensed all across Europe through Germany, right? So those two pipelines, you have Nord Stream Pipeline 1 and then you have Nord Stream Pipeline 2, right? These two pipelines run through the Baltic Sea. Now, this is the game that Putin's playing. These are the pipes that run to Germany, has been supplying Germany its energy. Putin said, okay, the pipes need servicing. So we're going to maintenance the pipes and close it down for a minute, which means temporarily no gas funneling to Germany until the services is done, right? Cut it off. Then miraculously out of the blue, nobody knows. Now you have to use a some deep water bomb that'll detonate underneath the Baltic Sea in order to blow up this pipeline, but somehow the pipeline blew up. Nord Stream Pipeline 1. Now, Nord Stream Pipeline 2 was built shortly after Nord Stream Pipeline 1, but it was so much funneling through 1, they never even activated Pipeline 2. They built it, but they never did activate it. But Putin actually, well, it's under investigation. The Baltic states are saying we had nothing to do with this. Russia saying we didn't do it. Russia's blaming the United States because they're saying the United States is, interfering with the war in Ukraine, and that's their justification for blowing it up. Nonetheless, it's blown up. No energy going to Germany. Now, Germany is faced with multiple options, right? We're talking tap into their reserves, and their reserves, they only have so much and they can't get any more, right? So you got other countries across the world trying to ramp up production and fill that gap where Russia was, but they can't fill a 40% gap. Russia was too big of a market for Germany. So even if the US ramp up production, but see, the US can't ramp up production, even though we're domestically good with oil reserves here. The US government has been launching war against the United States energy companies to go green because, you know, after the fall of the Soviet Union, all the nations said, we're going to go green, less CO2, we're going to clean up the air, right? So then nations start moving towards green energy, clean energy, right? So then the oil producing companies became the villains. You have all these laws and things that usually on an average day is aiming the gun at the oil producing companies. We talking Exxon, Chevron, Shell, BP, Total, all these big major oil producers of the world, right? So those companies, they have been getting beat up by local, state, and federal government about going green. So they're not trying to produce energy and ramp up production. They're like, no, prices are up. We're making a ton of money. Why would we take on more work? We're already in profits. We're over $100 a barrel for oil. We're producing millions of barrels a day, a month, exporting it. Why would we ramp up production and work harder when we're already in the, I'm talking about in the black, something serious? When oil is over $100 a barrel, that means the OPEC members, led by Saudi Arabia, all of these companies making stupid money. Exxon, Chevron, yeah, making crazy money. But that's how they make their profits because everybody's going green, like I said, in fossil fuels. So they're not willing to ramp up production. So they can't fill those gaps going to Germany. Now, Germany is the largest producer or manufacturer in Europe, in the whole European Union. Germany has the greatest GDP. They're producing all of that high scale machinery. We here in America, we love our German cars and whatnots. Those items are being exported across the world. Well, if Germany does not have the energy to turn on the lights in the factory, then none of that gets produced because they're trying to preserve energy to for German citizens to warm up their households during the German European winter. They don't want their citizens to freeze. They don't want the energy bills to, raise up higher. Now, the female prime minister, they voted her in. She was in office. Liz, she was in office what, 45 days, and she resigned because this triggered it. People over in the UK were protesting. Them energy bills were like crazy. They had these caps, but then it was caps on the rich people, and the lower economic class didn't really get the benefits. And she was like, "I'm out of here." She resigned. I said, "Wow, the shortest prime minister term in UK history." And she was, I believe, the first woman in and out like that. A month and a half, she was gone. But production slowed down, production stopped because they have to tap into their reserves. Putin shut off the pipelines. He shut those off. Now, the three largest producing countries are the US, China, and Germany. Germany being the third, US being number one, China number two. If Germany is affected, can you imagine the domino effect? Because it's surely one. But Putin and Russia has made a lot of money off of Germany over the years, and now all of that is at risk because, like I said, the pipeline was mysteriously blown up. Germany's not getting that, but Germany needs to continue to produce, right? But they can't. They have to either fill the gap or tap into their reserves, which they can't afford to do. But Russia has launched that war. Russia said, two could play that game. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to see if I can play it a whole lot better because United States not too friendly with OPEC right now. That's led by Saudi Arabia. They're not too friendly with them right now, so they can't ask them to increase production because they feel the same way. We're making a whole lot of money per barrel. We're producing millions of barrels a day. Why would we work harder? We're actually good. Saudi Arabia playing that game too, because they playing a long game. They see prices going down in the future, so they're trying to get as much money as they can out the market right now, while the barrels are up over $100 a barrel. But Russia, although they're the largest producing natural gas, they have the largest reserves. Russia has gotten lazy over the years because they've been making so much money funneling through the pipeline all of that money. I mean that oil, I mean that gas to Germany. They've made so much money that they got lazy and they didn't build newer facilities for liquid nitrogen gas, which is what most people are moving to, right? Cleaner. But that stuff right there is a lot more expensive to transport. Russia already does not have warm water transports out the country. They lucky if they could get that stuff out. But have you guys ever seen it? It's those really big ships out on the sea, those really large tankers, and they have like three big white domes on top of them. That's natural gas, and it's a pressurized system, an advanced system that liquefies all of that natural gas and turns it into a liquid. They then carefully transport it into those domes under high pressure, and then they transport it to whatever nation they had to deal with. It arrives there. The ships are humongous. Most ports can't even support these big old ships. Most ports are usually busy, ports are crowded. When those big old ships pull up, it's like make room for the queen type of stuff. Just, I mean, massive ships. But when it gets to its destination, that then liquid gas, they just took it from a gas state, pressurized it, made it a liquid, put it in the big tankers, transported it thousands of miles across the water, and when it gets to its destination, when it gets to the liquid nitrogen facilities, they then have to take it from its liquid form and turn it back to its gas form and supply it to its people so that they could power their furnaces, power their stoves, power their homes, and stay warm. That's more expensive to Germany and many other, less fortunate countries to have to that process. Those ships have to be insured to make sure that if anything happens to that LNG traveling over the water, that it'll be insured. Russia locked out of that because of the sanctions. Russia can't move liquid nitrogen gas if they wanted to right now because the insurance companies align with the West and they for the sanctions, and Russia's not going to get that insurance to transport that. So Russia has been rerouting their oil to China and India. And India and China has been buying Russian oil on the cheap. But Russia can't afford to keep giving China and India oil on the cheap and letting them stack up because Russia needs to make money. They no longer making money from Germany anymore. Germany thought they had at least about a year to implement their policies and programs, but Putin popped off and attacked Ukraine, and that sped up everything. Germany didn't have enough time to build those LNG liquid nitrogen gas facilities. They didn't have the time. And I just said Russia never built them. They got too lazy. They got too much money from Germany. So they never seen the need to build them. But now, and they don't have a pipeline system to China or India. So it makes it harder and harder for Russia to make money. That's why they say if his back is to the wall, what would he do next? But right now, he's decided it's Russia versus the world. And he started with Ukraine, and now he's working his way to Germany. And Germans, their citizens will be affected. Not necessarily their government, their citizens. It's sad. I hope it eases up. I don't know where they're going to get the gas from, but hopefully we can fill that gap. Until next time, bye.